Hey everybody, hope you're okay in these strange and challenging times. And I've been reflecting on what's been happening over the last 48 hours, the last week in general, and the last year in fact. Now, this is not a political broadcast by any sense of the imagination, but it's just to try and help you put in perspective what you might be going through, the emotions you might be feeling, why you might be feeling those emotions, and how they're playing out in your conversations and your behaviour, and then what you can do to gain a bit more control and start moving forward. So I'm just going to talk to you about the grief cycle. You can Google this or look on any sort of website link to do with psychology or grief or dealing with disappointment or change. And the grief cycle has been around for a long period of time and has identified different stages that people go through when A, they're grieving, or B, they are dealing with a huge change in their personal circumstances. And I observed and have observed and still observe people going through this cycle when they experience a change or a disappointment especially. And you can see the emotions playing out. They don't all play out in a particular order. Sometimes we go back to them, sometimes we go forwards. Sometimes, depending on the grief or the perceived sense of loss, will also determine how long you stay in a particular emotion for. And we're not all the same. That's the other thing. We're not all the same. So we have the same emotions, but we go through different stages at different times depending on ourselves, and also depending on our own support network and whether we internalise, which means that we think about it inside our brains rather than externalise, whereby we talk about it. So the first one is shock. So I'm going to use an example of Saturday when I am now in a tier 4. So I have 3 businesses that I run, and 2 of them are often impacted by the change in the tier levels, especially one's a gym and one's a coffee shop. So I'm going to use myself as an example of what happened and how I went through the cycle very quickly. So the first one was, I wasn't personally expecting this at all on Saturday. I just got used to being in tier 3, and we just implemented some stages in the gym. I've written a new timetable, spent all of Saturday writing a new timetable, and had already adapted and changed the coffee shop to takeaway and delivery. So we were moving forward with all of those things when the news broke on Saturday that we were into tier 4. Now, I didn't see that coming. Perhaps other people had, but so my point being, I wasn't prepared. I hadn't planned for this. So my initial reaction as I was listening to it was I was in shock. First of all, I saw the scrolling of the places that were into tier 4, and the area that I live in didn't appear. But then looking at other information, I saw that yes, there we are, we're in tier 4. So I'm like, okay, now my Christmas plans don't change because I've already had that conversation with my family who live in London, and we'd already made plans that actually we're all just going to spend it on our own at Christmas. But I was in shock about the change for the gyms, and gyms were closed straight off, bang. So I was immediately, wow, how can that be? How can that be that they've closed the gym? So that was my shock, and I was like, whoa, I went through these emotions very quickly. Then afterwards, I was like sitting there internalising it, and I was like, that can't be right. How can that possibly be right? We've just gone from tier 3 to tier 4. Why are we in tier 4 now? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. And why are you closing my gym? Because of course it's all a personal attack on me. And perhaps you can relate to that, because we're all going through this, but it still feels incredibly personal. So then I went into that denial, and then I was angry. I was angry about the fact that I'd spent all day on Saturday compiling a whole new system, updating my websites, putting a new timetable together, everything. So now I'm angry. I'm angry about the wasted time. I'm angry about the emotional roller coaster I've been on this year, like many other people. And I was just angry in general. That went quite quickly. I managed to deal with the anger. And then I was in a little bit of a despair. So it was like, how are we going to move forward? I can't see a way forward. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to take everything online. I'm going to lose clients. I'm going to lose customers. What does that look like for the future? How's the gym going to survive? How am I going to pay my employees? All of those bits and pieces that then go through your mind as you try to unravel the turmoil. And then eventually I came to acceptance. Now, for me, this probably took from the announcement all the way through to when I went to bed and then waking up in the morning and probably being in the acceptance phase. Other people will still be going through different emotions and phases. Now, the reason I share this with you is not because you're going to be able to go, oh right, I'm in the anger phase and stop it, but because sometimes when you know where you're at and why you are there, it's easier to accept and deal with it. Because whilst you're in the very emotional stage, it's difficult to see a way forward and it's difficult to find another plan. But when you get to that acceptance, that's when the logical brain starts to kick in more and you can start to have a clearer idea of what you're going to do next. And yeah, it's not going to stop you from going through those phases. It's not going to stop you being angry or frustrated. It's not going to stop you from being in a despair or how can I move forward from this. But it just allows you to recognise, once you can grab yourself from your thoughts that are going at 1,000,000 miles an hour in your head, you can grab it and stop it and go, okay, where am I? What am I really feeling right here, right now? What is causing me to feel that? And I'm going to accept that. I'm going to accept that and I'm going to let that emotion ride. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to move forward. So I hope that helps. I know it's been incredibly challenging for so many of you at this time, especially around Christmas, when things have changed dramatically and a lot of us weren't expecting this dramatic change and we'd already made our plans. So take good care of yourselves over this period, and I genuinely hope that that just helps you to have a greater understanding of where you might be in the cycle, how you might be feeling, but not just how you will be feeling, but how other people will be feeling, how members of your family might be feeling, how your friends might be feeling as they also go through this cycle. Okay, take care. If I can help you at all, just let me know, just message me. Otherwise, I will speak to you soon. Thank you.